why do white people pay so much attention to black people if they don't like them? You would think if you didn't like something, why would you be paying attention to it? I don't pay attention to things I don't like.
What's the answer?
The answer is the liar knows what lie he told. You see what I'm saying? So even if I made it deceitful and I made you think that the answer is over here, but the answer is really over here, I'm still going to be looking over here. Me, the one that tricked, because I know this is the right answer. Black people have lost their identity, but our oppressors have not lost our identity. That's just why they chopped those noses off of the Pharaoh and the Sphinx in Egypt in the first place, is because without this nose, we can tell you this is whoever it is. But with that nigga nose, it can only be niggas.
Before your time.
Why would somebody...
But what people consistently underestimate today is how the nature of mass media has transformed society. 10 people control 90% of everything you see, read, and hear in this country. 10 people. And they want to tell you that Cuba has state-run media. 10 people. Who are those 10 people? Well, you can look them up. They're not hard to find. That, in and of itself, is problematic. When you consider that these 10 people all need permission from the U.S. government in order to have licenses, in order to buy other corporations, in order to do all the nefarious things they like to do, then you really understand what state-run media is. If Martin Luther King were alive today and he were in his 20s, nobody would know who he was because he would never get on TV. That's the difference between 2003 and 1953 or 1963. We live in a completely different era where information is more tightly controlled than it has ever been in the history of this country. What that really means is somebody can tell you black is white and night is day, and you will believe it. And not only that, the bigger the lie, the more likely you are to believe it. There is such a limited amount of truth available for you to acquire, to digest, and to apply. This is not an accident, and it's not just a conspiracy against black people. This is the world in which you live today. As leaders, the most important thing that you have to remember is that the nature of power changes. These people who run the world, they may not be good people. In fact, they're really, really bad people. But they're not stupid people. Rarely do they make the same mistakes twice. Meaning, whatever worked before, whatever strategies, whatever tactics, whatever plans were really successful 30, 40 years ago, they're not going to work anymore. They've learned those lessons. We're coming up on the anniversary of the March on Washington. One of the most memorable moments in American history, something that has ingrained itself in all of American culture, because we can look, we can remember all of us seeing the footage of all those people, Martin Luther King, the speech, the singing, all that stuff. It was a big deal. Then we had the Million Man March, 1995. We've seen that. That was the response. It wasn't that big a deal. It was a big deal for like a week. Y'all are probably too young to remember that, but you know, we all went, we felt good. It was like a moment. But there was something that felt a little old. And then there was a Million Mom March and a Million Black Women. There's been like 500,000 million people marches since then. To the point that when we're on the verge of the Iraq War, no, actually after the Iraq War started, some 400,000 people march in New York City, and they don't even get on the news. This is what I mean when I say that the nature of power has changed. The civil rights movement. But in 2003, nobody cares about your march and your picket sign. And even if they did, they'll never know what happened, because you won't get on the news. This is what image is. This is what we're talking about. Wrestling control of information from those that have it and those that don't want to be honest. Those that want to use that information to put a stranglehold on the entire planet. So those same people who are, flipping through and they're watching Fox News and they're watching CNN and they're watching MSNBC and they're being told how popular the president is and all of that stuff. Then they flip a few channels over to BET and they watch You Act Like Idiots. And that's all they see. They only see you acting like idiots. And you can get mad if you want. You can go, that's the media. Okay, yeah, it's the media, but they're still watching you act like idiots. And every week there's somebody new on television acting like an idiot. And they look like you, and they dress like you, and they talk like you. Are y'all mad at that? But are you really mad? And if you are mad, the question becomes, what do you do about it? The interesting thing is what's put out there to keep you stupid. Now, I know that sounds really conspiratorial and all of that stuff, but let me tell you, I've been in Hollywood for 4 years now. I've been working in the newspaper industry for a bit longer. Information is controlled, absolutely on every level. And then I have these discussions and people go, oh, right. Like the White House is really calling people, telling newspapers, don't run this story. They are. The White House calls newspapers, the White House calls musicians. Are you going to put a video out? Nah, we don't think you should do that. Don't get it twisted. It's that controlled. Everything you see is there because someone wants you to see it. So you figure out how the system works, and then you figure out, well, what's motivating the people behind the system? Why do they want you to see certain things? Why do they want black people looking silly? Well, it's simple. I mean, how many people have seen The Matrix? How many people have seen the second Matrix? Well, you got to see the second Matrix. Dr. West is in the second Matrix. The point is that struggles used to be organized and planned a bit differently. You used to be able to go, and there were communities, there were institutions in the community. People would go to a church, or they would go someplace, they would organize, they would meet, the movement would build, the ideology would spread, and action would take place. Why doesn't that happen now? Because everyone's getting their information from mass media. 90%. It's coming from there. So if it's not on TV, it doesn't exist. It's irrelevant. I can't knock on your door and say, brother, sister, join the revolution. You will laugh at me. You're like, what the hell are you thinking? I'm not joining anything. Who are you? I'm calling the police. I really want you guys to understand that time is running out. And a lot of black people say that, but for real. Part of why the civil rights movement has been so successful, and part of why those who have come after in terms of our leadership have been able to maintain a presence, is that black people have always had a certain amount of moral currency that we have been using. And let me be the first to tell you, that's used up. White America has been watching us act like fools for a long enough time where any sympathy they may have had to our plight is completely gone. You're approaching a country Forget hating black people or not hating black people. They just don't care. You can be talking about affirmative action. They can be like, I don't care. It literally is of no importance to me. I don't care about slavery. I don't care about segregation. I don't care about you. I don't care how many of you all go to jail. I don't care at all, because I'm broke. You can't be the proud, noble fighter when every single time someone sees a person that looks like you on television, they're acting like a damn fool. How would they know? How would they know you're not a damn fool? They're going to talk to you? Yeah, right. This is what we're facing. Now, this was not a very motivational speech because I'm not a motivational speaker. I got to be honest. So wait. That don't matter to me. I'm a critic. That's what I do for a living. I'm not here to tell you you can do it, because you know what? Maybe you just can't do it. I'm going to be real. I'm going to be real. I hope you can do it. I hope to God you can do it. You better do it. Because if you don't, will you suffer? Yeah. But your kids are going to catch hell.